It's getting hot, y'all. So I feel global warming now. I feel it.
Absolutely.
It's hot.
It's
everywhere.
I'm good.
It's too much.
Right.
Yeah.
Can we be between inside and outside? Like, is there a midway point?
Look, can
where
everything
there's
just be
some
in
AC?
shade?
Period.
Okay.
With a cool fan. Cool
Right.
fan blowing.
A little mist fan.
Y'all just need to get off of that West Coast. Y'all need to come on over here to the East Coast where
That
it's
part.
nice and cool.
We had a good 66
come
today.
on over to Harlem.
Y'all be wilding though. I don't know.
You get snow, and that's just not.
Yeah.
You know, I'd rather the sun than the snow. I'm gonna complain a little bit.
That snow is no
but-
longer in my ministry.
Okay, look.
No, and I used to live in Denver. You're definitely. I am over it. I am over it. Yeah, man.
Like I miss it up to Christmas, but then like come like January, like 1.
Yeah.
I'm good.
Oh, you gave it a few days.
Right.
You said January 1st. You done.
A few, but Jan 1, it better be at least 60 degrees.
Oh, weak.
Hey, Aunteas. It's Reena and Jess from It's a Mess Sis podcast.
What's brewing today?
Introducing It's a Mess Sis podcast.
Ask your aunties, don't touch my hair.
And Colorism In The Heights. So get your cups ready for Minoritea Report. Well, hey, welcome to Minority Report. It's Auntie Carell.
Auntie Dwan.
And Auntie Jarrell.
And we're excited for this episode. We're just gonna get right into it. We ain't gonna like shoot the shit
Facts.
right quick.
Yeah.
Because we have two amazing co-hosts with us. And first, we don't even know what their auntie names are gonna be. So first we'll start there. What's your guest auntie names?
Yes.
Okay, my auntie name is Auntie Shirley Temple.
Oh,
That's me.
Shirley Temple.
Okay,
yeah.
now.
Yes.
Okay,
Do I have to explain, or do y'all? It's just so explain a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, give us the
So
best story.
I don't drink, but I still am a little spicy. You know what I'm saying? I want a little mixed drink, even though I don't drink. And that's what I get when I go out with my friends, so I can pretend and still not drink. So, you know, Auntie Shirley Temple, a little spice with the Sprite.
I love how you just put the slur on it. But I don't like a little spicy.
A little spice.
Some spicy. Yeah. So that's it. Auntie Shirley Temple.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
I got a question for you though. So you don't drink. Are there some
I
other
don't.
drinks that you like to order that kind of make you feel like you're still part of the crowd? Because I gave up drinking this month. And I'm 16 days in and I'm starting to feel the change. And I'm low-key thinking about like being done with it.
That's
like,
dope.
you
That's
know, like
dope.
I'm low-key.
I love that.
Yeah, so you know, because I got brunch on Saturday, so she going and not having that a single mimosa.
Okay, see,
but you know,
and that's
but
the
she
thing.
been wearing the heels because she bringing heels though, so she gonna spice it up somehow,
some kind of way.
Right?
See,
exactly.
I love a mimosa. Mine just consists of like a simply lemonade with a sparkling apple cider. And when I tell you, it sounds weird, but it's delicious. You get the bubbles. You can put it in your champagne flute. You're able to cheers and toast and do the things. And that's what I do for mimosas, like literally all the time. You can do that. There's like regular lemonade, like, you know, orange juice and a little of this. You can pair a little bit of anything to get like the feeling without the feeling. So, and I actually just saw a BuzzFeed article that had 16 drinks. I will send it to you for the non-drinkers. If you still want to be a part, there's like a non-bourbon or non-alcoholic bourbon I just saw that they made like a cool drink with. There's a bunch of cool things that I saw. So I will send it to you.
Please do, because I'm enjoying this journey so far, and I low-key want to continue it because health-wise, I'm going in the right direction. It feels good.
Yeah. And I don't judge, but it's just my own personal reasons. But when I tell you that I have not looked my age ever, it has been, I feel like that's one of the most beneficial things.
That was a little stunt too,
Come
by the
on
way.
now, look, okay, look, she said, look, serve us some face, girl. You better serve it, look. Glorious face.
Yes.
Look, if Issa Rae was writing the intro to this episode, this would be low-key non-alcoholic.
Well, we got one of our intros right there.
Period. Yeah, I love that for you. I think that's really dope. That's really dope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't forget now. I'm
I'm
gonna
not.
you up after this.
I
'cause I'm
have
gonna be
it.
asking for that.
It's up on my phone, so I got
Okay.
you. Yeah.
All right.
And then we got Reena. So Reena's
Yes.
like, damn, the pressure on me, because if I drink, damn, how am I following?
Right. I'm like, I really should have gone first. Jeez. Well, I'm gonna be Auntie Kalua because I'm chocolate and I like
Period.
coffee.
Period.
So,
Yes.
and
Come on,
Love it.
Melanin.
Come on, Melanie.
And that's on Mary Had a Little Lamb. Okay.
Right.
Exactly. And Jack and Jill went up the hill. Yeah.
Here for it. Well, and we haven't had neither one of those. Like, we've had all kinds of names at this point, but Kalua has never come up. Even like in behind the scenes, no one's mentioned, maybe I'll do Kalua, maybe I'll do. That's interesting.
Look at us being original.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Check us out.
So
I
Reena
love
and
to
Jess
originate. Yes.
from It's a Mess Sis podcast, which I love your episodes, by the way. Like, I love how you start your episodes with your little, like, it's almost like a dissertation. And they'll be like,
It is.
I'm at for this week, this is how I'm feeling.
That's how we feeling.
It's
That's
a
how we
mess.
And it's funny because that was actually advice from one of our listeners. They were like, well, what's the mess? Because you're saying it's a mess, sis, and we never hear any mess. And I'm like, oh, okay, we listen.
Y'all want to talk about
We
mama?
want to talk about mess. So we included it. And it's actually one of my favorite segments because we're able to just kind of explore, how we are utilizing what we do on the podcast in our everyday lives. So it's kind of a fun, little segment. I love it.
How did you two meet? Like, were you friends from way back in the day? Like, how did it even start before the podcast?
Fun story. Go ahead, Reena.
Okay. Oh, I'm okay. I'm voluntold. Okay. So we both were in attendance at the Weekend Soiree, which is an event for queer women of color. Dang. I'm still rooting for them. Yeah.
Did they get infiltrated by the straights?
Oh man, that would have been horrible. No, coronavirus got them too.
Yes.
The pandemic, they couldn't. I know they couldn't survive it.
But it was a really great event, and we were something had finished. We were in an event, and then they were having a scavenger hunt.
It was a psychic.
Okay, there you go.
Get it right.
I know, because I remember. I'm just trying to let you have a little. I've been talking a lot, so I'm just like.
This is the origin story. I'm loving this.
Okay.
This is like the origin story. This is like Glass Man.
I will say
how this turned out.
Right.
Okay, so now that I remember properly, so there was a psychic, and I was there, and Jess was there, and then they were having a scavenger hunt, and Jess didn't have the directions. I didn't see her in the room. I was just sitting there minding my business, and I just hear something in the wind say, "Hey, yo, you!"
Wow.
You got the directions for this scavenger hunt? And I was like, wait a minute. I'm like,
that's how it sound.
I mean,
hey, yo, you.
Shady.
Hey, yo, you.
Shady. Y'all hear this? Okay, so I said, hey, yo, you.
And I was like, I wasn't really worried about that little scavenger hunt. And then I'm like, but we were struggling to use their app. And then we started talking about, what did we start talking about?
Your love of fast food places, even if they have a D rating. And I was like, that is ghetto.
Wait a minute.
And I would never, it doesn't matter. And I was like, I'm gonna need you to matter. I'm gonna need it to matter for you. Because if they have a lower rating than an A-, I'm not eating there.
That part.
That was one of the conversations. Because I was like,
wait, okay, so
that's
the D rating. Like what?
Okay, I'm exaggerating.
I was talking about Chinese food. I was talking about carryouts in the DMV area, and I was like,
very important piece of information.
That is a different standard. You're right.
Right, and I'm like, I don't know any else that have above like a C rating.
Me either.
What?
That's kind of part of it. Like, you don't really know what you're gonna get, but you know it's good. Don't question it. Just eat it.
Yeah, I mean,
that was her face.
I have to co-sign that because there are a few places I know too that I'm like
the melanated queen herself.
I am weak. See, I would have been alone. Because no, I can't. I cannot.
There's some low key ones where you're like,
Look,
And that's why
I'm
you're
alone in
vegan.
this?
You'll eat
No,
I
you're
thought
not.
about it,
but
but
you
I
won't eat.
realized I can't.
Yes, I cannot, I just, I don't know what you're putting in that, and that frightens me. But they are surviving. They survived the pandemic. So apparently more people think like Reena and y'all than more people think like me. So
Yeah,
it's cool.
we good over
They do what they
here.
do.
We had the
good.
vaccine long ago. It was in some
Huh.
egg foo young or something. I'm good.
Oh boy. Okay, so we're discussing that.
Right. And apparently,
okay, that's
we
where
got
we going. Okay.
yeah, we got so immersed in our conversation that we had another person there who I guess the next day she was doing like spiritual cleansings and
Mhm.
she had her own session, but she was setting up the day before. And she was like,
Mhm.
y'all need like a cleansing or something, whatever, to like get y'all up out of my space. And we're like, sure.
Wait, she said y'all need a cleansing to get out of her
She
space.
asked. Rena's just
Come on
aggressive. She was so sweet. Rena remembers everything so aggressively. She was so sweet. She said, I'm cleaning the room for tomorrow because this is where I'll be doing my cleaning, blah, blah, blah. Would you like a cleansing? Would you like a spiritual cleansing? And of course we said
So that was
yes. It's
subtle
like, that's
shade.
dope. Right.
Rena
I
said,
read between the
yes.
lines. Yes, I did. I was like, actually, that's a good idea.
Loki,
So-
she heard about that D rating and she was like, ooh.
Oh, let me help sniff out. Cleanse you.
Sage, crystals, ding, 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 ding.
That's exactly what happened. We held
Literally.
crystals and
We
she
did.
saged us and
We
we held
did.
hands.
Yeah.
She brought out the little teacup with the spoon.
Oh my God.
Okay.
I love those.
Took you
The
to
spinning
fucking
bowls?
place.
Yeah.
Singing bowls. Yeah.
Singing bowls.
No. She stopped at the crystals and the sage.
Yeah.
She was like, y'all have
That's
gotten
enough.
enough for free. Y'all can come back tomorrow and
And
pay.
That
pay.
part.
That
Okay.
part.
Okay, you're right. It's a business.
First of all,
Right.
can I just say for the white people listening to this conversation, this is probably not for y'all because this is black people connected right now.
Hello?
can tell because
look,
we
hold
talking
on.
real
But they know
fast.
about crystals. They know about some
They
crystals.
do.
and some
They do.
sage.
They do.
They
I'm just
do.
talking about the pace
Right.
and the veracity of this conversation right now.
Right.
Yeah.
Keep
I
up.
mean, I'm just
Keep up.
Look,
Can
we
you
are not
keep
pausing.
Right.
Baby boy, maybe lose my breath.
I
Okay.
can see the speed dial going to 0.5. now.
Right. You can't
Just
put
like
this
to
on the
slow it
1.5
down.
this episode.
Right.
I was
I'm
looking
just
the
slow
same
this
thing.
down.
I'm about to
This
face her,
bitch
and it only
down.
been 5 minutes.
It's a long story, so I'm trying to get through it.
Okay, gotcha.
So fast forward, we leave there. And no, we felt like really spiritually connected at that point,
Mhm.
and then we left and then
I
she
mean, you
pops
both got shaded by the spiritual lady, so
We did.
pretty much.
I mean,
Shaded
you
and
in the same
sage.
class,
Yeah.
apparently.
Yeah.
Right. So then we ended up in a workshop together about podcasts.
Mhm.
And
And Reena was being shady.
Tell us how, girl. Tell us how.
yeah,
She was
come on.
like, they doing a podcast? She was like, we could do a podcast. If they can do a podcast, we could do a podcast. And I
So
was
now you
like,
say, look, so that cleansing was temporary.
you said, what was?
The cleansing was temporary. It
There
was
was a
relaxing.
Because
It was
Rena
a
took it
miss.
as a diss. I was like, we could do a podcast. Right.
The
And it was
closing
true.
highlighted the truth that if
Okay.
they could do a podcast, we could do a podcast.
Right.
Like they had a whole PowerPoint presentation.
They did.
And then I was singing the MASH kind of theme song in the background to kind of close it out. They were taking some time.
See.
Shady.
It was true.
Mm-hmm.
And you came to the back with me. You joined me.
Oh,
The
No,
truth,
see,
y'all.
she tried to
I
make it
want-
seem like it's just
No. Listen.
She did the Rick James.
It sounds like benediction at church or something.
No, listen, I was always where I was first because I'm an early riser for the event. And who would trickle in after that would be Reena. So where I was is where Reena sat. So, she came to, that's not true?
sit anywhere near her. I was in the back because I was late.
How were we
And then-
talking?
Huh?
How were we talking if we didn't sit? If we didn't sit near
You
each other?
stood up from the front, turned around. It was like, hey,
That don't even sound real. That don't
that
even
is so
sound
real. That is so
shady.
real. That is so real. You
No.
know what? At the end, when Jesus replays the real,
Okay, we gonna see the
find out the
truth.
truth.
We gonna see the
Yeah.
truth. We'll see the truth. No, I mean it was like because the type of event it was it was like a little bit of everything. So you had your spiritual, you had your you could go and do like body, work or whatever. Like they had like a lot of yoga, they had like different workout stuff. So you could take that track, you could do some spiritual things, you could do more educational things. So there were things about like how to
What
invest.
city was this in?
It's just in New Orleans.
New Orleans.
So
okay.
they did it in different states. That's what their goal was. So the first state was Colorado, and they did it in Louisiana and in New Orleans. And so, there was a bunch of different stuff. And then at night there were parties. So at every, almost of the seminars, we would find ourselves in the seminars and just talking and having a good time, finding rapport, like finding like a commonality between us and what we thought about things. And it was just hilarious. And I feel like what really solidified it for me, and I think maybe for Reena too, is after we had the conversation in the being shady a little bit in the podcast thing, like, oh, we can do this, blah, blah, blah. We went to like whatever this really nice like restaurant down the street from the hotel, and we sat there and closed the restaurant down. We sat and ate and talked about everything, just a wide range of things, of conversations. And as we're leaving, the staff is there like rolling up silver at the next table, and we're about to go. And the staff is like, I just want y'all to know, I listened to that whole conversation. That was so good. And blah, blah, blah. It was like a confirmation of like things like
that was a black person that said it, right?
It was
black
woman,
an older black woman,
an older black woman who was
an
like,
auntie.
oh, just really an
You mean
auntie.
auntie?
Just
An
nosy,
auntie.
but
Just
it's okay.
nosy. But she let us know. She said, I really enjoyed y'all conversation. I said, wow. But it was like a confirmation of sorts that, okay, this is something we can do. And I think from there, it just kind of went really fast. So it was like maybe a month after we had met that we started the podcast.
Wow.
We got to know each other, I think, through the podcast.
Yeah.
Truthfully.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
That
And
is
it's almost 2 years now. We're headed towards our 2-year mark.
Congrats.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank
I
you.
love stories of like beautiful like friendships and relationships starting like organically like that. That's not like forced or like manipulated to be. It just happens. Like, God's just be like, I'm gonna put you here, I'm gonna put you here. We go put this together. Like
exactly. It was very organic. Yeah.
Yes, that's exactly
It was a dope meeting. We really started, we didn't know, where we were going with it, honestly. I know I did.
So what were like those first couple episodes like for you in terms of like, planning them and like putting it out and, like getting listeners involved? Like, what was that like?
Oh man.
I think the focus was that I just really wanted to do it. And the focus was on us being vulnerable. And I think we were just doing it for ourselves at that point, to prove that we could do it, that we could bring it together. So the first couple of episodes, we just kind of said, you know what, we'll just get better with each episode. We'll make tweaks. I was really thankful. We were both really grateful and thankful to have like friends listen to our podcast and spread the word, and then also give us constructive criticism.
Yeah.
They come through.
They do.
Yeah. So like our first couple of episodes, we didn't even have a format. And then, we got suggestions saying, okay, you need some way to kind of organize it. And then that got us to thinking, and that's how the dick showed up. And then, which
always,
damn dick.
Damn dick always show up somehow.
Wait, okay, pause. For our because we have listeners that are getting to know you for the first time. I've been waiting for this for like the longest time.
Take it down.
Could you talk about the origin of the Dick It Down segment?
Go ahead. I was just gonna say, like, it really kind of came from what we were already doing. We just found a clever way to say it, and it's fun, and it gives you pause, like, wait, what? Because especially because we're having a lot of like therapeutic conversations, and we kind of like talk about some really serious things, but we like to have a lot of levity, a lot of light, a lot of laughter in the podcast too. So that was one of those like funny little things that came from it, because we were already defining things. We were already telling the impact. We were already telling how we cope with it. And then we just got the suggestion of like, okay, you're dicking it down. And we're like, this is fucking dope. So yeah.
I had impact, and I think I had like address. That was going to be the last like letter. And I was like, that's not right. That's not it. And then I was like, okay, how do we address it? How do we cope with it? And I'm like, oh, DIC. I was like, dick, it's the dick. And we're immature. And I told Jess, she's like, I love it.
You know, I love all things immature. Yeah, I will never grow up. That is my vow to myself.
Wait, immature the group or just immature period?
Period. 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 We can sing too a little bit, so maybe both. Right. Maybe a little bit of both.
Yeah. On front, y'all know y'all was riding with immature for a long ass time. Marcus Houston and all.
Okay, because IMX.
I
followed them.
Right.
And then I followed them. That's how far back we go. I saw your name change, baby. I saw you switch over.
Followed to when Romeo took off the eye patch.
That part.
Oh, wow.
And cut off the plaits he had. Remember he had the plaits and then they cut them off too?
He had a mean twist out.
Right. You're right.
Aspire.
Who was your style?
You say you aspire?
Dude.
I do too.
I'm weak.
Their hair was laid.
Yeah.
That man had that Anita Baker. It was like a little longer though.
Oh
yeah. It's the bang.
I'm done. I am logging off. Good night. Wash your hands, wash your legs. Not the Anita Baker.
Anita Baker.
I'm done.
I'm weak. That's crazy.
So what's the biggest thing you've learned about yourselves doing the podcast?
Ooh. I think I've learned about my resiliency. I think when we started the podcast, honestly, I was not in a very great place. So the podcast was something that kind of grounded me. It gave me something to look forward to, something to do. And as I begin to put the things in place that we do, begin to define things for myself and really sit with the impact of it, it has allowed me to see how much I've gone through and how much I have been able to deal with, but also to move through and cope with the things and heal from the things. And so I think just for me, it's just the resiliency. It's okay, I know everything's not going to always be great, but I know that I can do the things to be better, to improve, so I think that's for me. And consistency, just know that I can be consistent. We have done this for a lot of weeks, and I'm just we put it together, literally we put it together in a matter of a month or so. Reena did the artwork, I did the music at the beginning, and it just came together. And then to be able to continue that, it's just okay, I can do that. I can be a part of something that continues and we show up,
Yeah.
What about you?
For me, I learned about myself. This podcast has definitely opened up a pathway for my truth. So it forces me to really think about things for myself and not just take the automatic definition from society. It makes me say, okay, this is what society says. This is what I've been taught. Does that resonate with me?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And how has the impact of, that definition, how has that played a role in my life and how I conduct myself? So it just gave me the opportunity to say, you know what? I don't like that definition. I can change that.
Mm-hmm.
And it just allowed me to be really honest and accountable to myself.
Mm-hmm.
Love that.
What would you say to, because we have a lot of listeners that they tune in because, obviously we give them a lot of really great content, but we're really intentional about bringing really great folks on who introduce them to whole new worlds of podcasts. So how would you describe your podcast to somebody who's never heard of you all before?
Yes.
Okay. I think if I had a tagline, I would say it's a therapeutic conversation. I think it's an opportunity to see and define and know things for yourself. I think it's a way our podcast is a fun conversation about things that may be tough to talk about. It may not be something that your friends want to go there with you about, but we'll be your friends. We'll talk you through it. We will say, okay, these are the things that we've come to understand about ourselves in this way. And maybe it's uncomfortable. Maybe it's not fun. Maybe it's sad. Maybe it's, maybe it's funny. Maybe it's silly. We have a variety of ways we can go, but I think it's just a fun conversation about understanding yourself a bit better.
Yes.
It's a whole lot of fun. It's a whole lot of fun.
Thank
Love
you.
listening to y'all. I so love listening to y'all's episodes.
Thank you.
What was the toughest things you both had to talk about?
What's the toughest thing?
I remember for me, go ahead. Did you have something, Reena?
No, go ahead. I'm still
Okay.
thinking about it.
Well, an episode that I ran from, because Reena brings topics or I'll bring topics, and so we could say yay or nay to them, obviously. And for the longest time, she wanted to dick down rest. And I couldn't. It was very difficult. And it sounds very simple. But once I dicked it down, I came to the understanding that rest meant failure to me. And renegotiating that with myself has allowed me to rest, because rest is a part of success, and rest is what we need. I mean, we all need rest. We literally do. And I think that was one of the hardest ones for me, because I worked so hard. Like Reena will tell you, I would always be working.
What's your zodiac sign?
I'm a Virgo.
A Virgo.
I had him guess. I should have had him guess.
You should have. I should have too.
I was literally going Capricorn or Virgo, because I'm a Capricorn, and I vibe really well with Virgos, because Capricorns are very similar in that aspect. So you were talking about planning goals and stuff. I was like,
you see me, you feel me. Yes. But that one was really hard, because for all of my life, I mean, I do enjoy being busy. I will say that just naturally, I enjoy being on the go. But I think at a certain point, it just got to the place where not being on the go, especially for monetary advancement, it wasn't just on the go for anything. It was like, I need to be working for money. That is equivalent of success. That is the way I'm going to feel comfortable. And having to sit with it. So I ran for it for a while. Reena brought it up like 3-4 times. And I was like, no. No, I'm not ready. And then the universe. I ran from that shit. I was gone, and the universe sat my ass down. The universe sat me down, and I had to. At that moment, I had to, and so doing that has really opened up the world for me. It's opened up the world for rest and feeling empowered by it, and feeling successful in a day's rest, and not feeling ashamed or embarrassed that I took a day off, or that, okay, maybe I didn't make as much money, but like I feel good. You know, finding all of those little moments that is what makes us like whole. So I think that was the toughest one for me.
Reena.
Yeah.
So for me, thank you for definitely buying me some time.
I got you.
My hardest episode would be the do your best episode. That one was where I didn't have any answers for myself. Every time I would try to answer, it would just turn into another question. Like, what does it mean to do your best? So that was the hardest one for me, because I always want to do my best. I always want to be the best. And trying to figure out what that looks like, what that means for me. That was that. Yeah, I'm still thinking about that.
And it could probably change over time, quite frankly. Like what today might not be tomorrow, or a year from now, 2 years from now, and being okay with that. That's the hardest thing, I think, for me. Is like, you might have a perception or a perceived idea of what your life is supposed to be by this point or today, and just kind of being okay to be like, you know what, I don't want that anymore. You know, sometimes you get married to an idea of what it's supposed to be for so long that, like, you take a step back and you're like, hold on, maybe I don't really want that now. Like, you know, it's like it's being okay with that. Maybe mourning it, but be like, okay, now what do I want to do next? What does that look like next, and things like that.
That's so real. That's so true, because I think that's something that kind of we touched on in the episode, just being like, okay, I don't know what my best looks like now, because my best is not what my best was at 18.
Right.
And I can't compare the two.
Nope.
My best now looks like all the things I've been through since 18. My best looks like all the things that I'm working through now. My best doesn't look like I'm in college and everything's fucking taken care of. I'm out here, I have bills, I have, you know, other responsibilities. And so my best is not going to look like 18-year-old best, you know, and comparing the two will never put me in a spot where I can enjoy what my best is now. So
that part.
Isn't it wild how isn't it wild how, like, there was a moment when you kind of realize that the whole world is available to you?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, isn't like when you sit down and think about, like, at this moment, I can make any choice, and it could take me in a million different directions, whether that's within your career, your personal life, where you live, how you live. Like, wild. And when
It
you
is.
really think about it, it's just it can be a little overwhelming and scary for I know, like for me, it's been scary for me. Like that takes a level of commitment. Like, okay, am I really willing to go down this path and it's going to take me down this way? And I'm willing to give out all this other stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
So true. So true.
It's kind of like when you think about manifesting what you want out of life and you recognize that it's on me.
Yeah.
Like the onus is on me to do the things. And it's like, okay. It can be a little scary. It's me. Oh, that's me. Okay, cool. Yeah,
Like,
I got this.
My bills.
Right. Okay. I guess I'll do that. I'm gonna do that. Oh my
But if
goodness.
they can do it, I can do it.
Period. Period. Yeah.
And that's how they got that podcast.
Oh, right.
It so did.
Oh.
It so did. Yes.
Reena, so question for you. I hear are you the sneakerhead?
I am. Jess don't even like shoes.
You don't have to put my business on the internet. You do not have to put my business on the internet.
So if you could
I don't
only
like shoes.
literally your house is on fire, your apartment's on fire, whatever, 3 pair.
Damn, she got
Which
a lot.
3 are you grabbing, and why are you grabbing those specific 3?
Okay. So I'm probably grabbing my Air Max Griffey ones, my Air More Up Tempos, and oh my gosh, I don't have this time to think about it. What would I grab?
Right.
I would grab
Your house is on fire. You gotta think fast. Come on, girl.
The first 2 are probably the
on
closest
fire.
ones to the door right now.
See, I'm trying to choose between like money and nostalgia. Because the Air Max Griffey one and the Air More Up Tempo, those were the first shoes to like really catch my attention.
Yeah.
Like back in '96, I was like, oh, like I want those. Those are what I want.
Those
My
are
mother
it.
was like, no, you're gonna get these from Payless. And I was like, please, no, don't do this to me. I'll just take the New Balances. So the third shoe would be my Footscapes. The Atmos is a collaboration between Nike and a Japanese sneaker boutique, Atmos.
Okay.
They made their colorway of like the Nike Footscape, which I feel like is like the most comfortable Nike shoe ever.
Okay.
Wow, you saying so many words that I don't understand.
Same.
I'm just shaking my head like,
I don't think I've ever told
like-
this story on the podcast. I'm trying to think now. Like literally, like I'm not like a sneakerhead. I like sneakers, but
Okay.
like, I won't consider myself a sneakerhead. But the one pair that I never got, and to this day, I don't know if I made up the colorway in my head from like 6th grade at this point, because it's become like a legend in my head. Is I remember it was like 5th or 6th grade, and it was the Air Maxes 96. So like when they first, like 1996, like when they came out 96. And because that's the one with like almost like the circular design around the shoe, right? Is that the 96s? Air Max.
You mean the Air Max 95, and they kind of have like those panels around the shoe?
Is it 95?
Yeah, 95.
Anyway, whatever year it is, like I remember my parents telling me that if I got all A's that year, they would buy me whatever sneaker I wanted. And they never bought me them damn sneakers. I
that's
remember
rude.
hey,
Wait, did you get the A's?
yes.
Damn.
I'm just
Yeah,
checking.
girl, you know,
That was a setup.
That was a setup. That's messed up.
Mhm.
They wrong for that.
And here's the thing, like I already got good grades, so I almost didn't need that extra, like whatever. But
Right.
to this day, and I remember it was almost like a gray and like a tealish turquoise colorway.
Okay.
And to this day, I have not been able to see them or find them. And I'm like, did I make up this colorway? Like, is it like just a figment of my imagination now at this point?
That
But-
sounds like a real colorway. It's like either like a chlorine blue
Yes.
colorway.
Look at her knowing
I'm
all
gonna
the
need to
terms.
talk to
I
you
mean,
because
it's-
to this day,
Rena can find them for you.
It's probably
only
out
shit
there.
I want to this day.
Your parents should buy them. That's
Right.
rude.
Mom,
Tell them
Yeah.
Mom, I know
happy
you
birthday
listening.
to me. Right. Because that's
I'll-
rude. That was
I'll
a
find them on
setup and a
eBay.
half.
I'll
To
find them on
this
eBay
day,
and I'll send you the link, and then you can
Please
text
do.
it to them.
please do, because to this day,
To this day.
my heart is not right.
That was wrong.
I ain't
That was
wearing no
wrong.
sneakers, but I'm breaking in these heels. And I've literally
Period.
been wearing heels for like the last 3
That
hours
picture
trying to
killed
break
me.
it. Look,
That's what y'all
look,
gotta do.
I still got them on. Look,
Let me
still
see.
got them on. But look.
Oh,
Shoes.
cute.
Okay, look. Come on now.
Hey,
She
those are so
ready.
cute.
She ready.
Listen, if I have to wear shoes, I like a heel.
See, this is my
Really?
first pair. This is my first
Really?
pair. To a friend house like a couple years ago. It's kind of like how Dewan got me into the damn wigs.
Okay.
So, you know, I never had any.
Right.
I got plenty. I went to a friend house. He had some heels on. We spent the whole night drinking wine and walking the hills. I was like, girl, can
Wow,
do
that sounds
this. I got
dangerous.
this.
Yes,
Look.
Right, that sounds like
Listen,
a broken
if
ankle.
your
to me.
ankle didn't break, I am impressed.
That part.
Why you drinking?
While we drinking.
You see the girls after the club, they got the heels in the hand. You know, once they drunk, they got their heels
in
in
the
the hand.
hands.
Bella no
understand.
shame.
I went to a party yesterday. I was like, can you massage my feet? I get it now.
Yeah, literally. It's no joke. Those are very cute.
Thank you.
Look like
Yes,
you got your additional, 3 inches or something?
they're 5 inches.
Oh,
Ooh,
yeah, and
Oh
that's
my
wow.
my.
But
Oh
strong-
my
yeah,
my.
Go big as
Scared of
go
you?
home.
Period.
Ambitious.
Period. Right. I'm not doing that. I will be keeping me a good 3 inch.
Right.
I was telling my look,
Get
I
my
was like,
little
I
kitten heel.
should have started
Not-
the church hill.
not a
Okay,
kitten.
look, the church hill. Look,
No. No,
Get
don't
that-
do that.
not Sophia.
Right.
No.
yeah.
Should nobody be doing that except for your
Get that
grandma?
Michelle Obama heel and
Unless-
lower.
Only unless you're going out to the lanai. You should never be wearing a kitten heel.
Never,
Mm.
never, not a kitten.
I
Oh
call
Lord
them
Jesus.
the Mo's, Michelle Obamas and less.
Unless, wow. But Michelle could do that because she
6'2".
had, oh, you 6'2"?
Yeah, I don't need
Oh,
to
okay, you can do that. I was about to say because she's tall.
Yeah,
She can do a little small and be okay.
exactly.
If you any shorter than her, baby, let the kitten go. No, that's funny.
Just you're a singer, right?
I
heard the
am a
vocals before we get-
singer.
Okay.
I'll sing a
So-
bit.
So for you,
Mm-hmm.
pretend we still had like CDs and albums and things like that. Your house is on
Okay.
fire.
Okay.
What 3 albums
Ooh.
are you grabbing?
Oh, Jesus Christ. I feel like what 3 albums? Okay, I'm gonna take Jasmine Sullivan's new album.
Come on,
And I don't know the
Hotels.
name.
Hotels.
Yeah, Hotels.
Mhm.
I'm gonna take Fred Hammond's album. I don't remember the name. I don't know the names of these things.
Yeah.
I just know the songs.
I'm here
Okay,
for
so
it.
I got Fred Hammond's like old album, probably
like the first one.
with it's like a white oranges.
Uh-huh. I know
That one, and then so I don't have like favorites of all time. I just have favorites like at the moment.
Okay.
So who have I been listening to right now? Coffee. Do y'all know who Coffee is?
Oh yes.
I love her. She's a Jamaican artist.
No.
And like her music has been on repeat in my car for the past like month. Y'all should look her up. She's a vibe. She's dope. She's like a young, cool. She looks queer, but you know how their community is. So I don't know that she's come out as queer. So
is it spelled
you
like
know.
regular
She's-
coffee?
I know K with a K.
Okay. I should have known better.
Mhm.
Come on.
And her well-known song is Toast, right?
Yes,
Okay.
and then she had one about quarantine called Lockdown.
Okay, her right
Let
there.
me put you on lockdown.
Yeah, that's her.
That's her.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Y'all should look her up. She's a vibe. So those are the ones I'm taking. I also have to confess that like music, it's like weird for me because I didn't get to like listen to secular music until I was a lot older. And because of that, I don't have like classic albums that I just like know.
Yeah.
And so sometimes that puts me in a, Reena always tries to tell me old songs and I'd be like, no,
Well,
sis,
I don't know her.
I don't know her.
No,
I
I get
haven't
it.
met her.
I was the
So,
same.
you
way.
know.
I just sneak to
I
friends' houses to
know.
listen to it. That's how I got it.
Yeah.
Like, and then I remember the first album, Parental Advisory album, I snuck and bought was
Ooh.
it was a CD single. It was Master P, I Miss My Homies. That's so horrible, but I remember
That's hilarious.
I was maybe 14 or something like that.
Yeah.
Look at him. My
Yeah.
mom found it. I was like, come on now.
Dang, did she
Oh,
break
dang.
it? Did she break
No,
it? Because
no,
I know.
She
I-
she let me keep it, but she was like, how did you get this? And
Mhm.
like back then you could just roll up into the Camelot at that point. People didn't really care, you know? And so I was like,
Yeah.
I bought it at the store. They're like, they let you buy it? I was like, yeah. And she's like, okay.
Wow.
And so that kind of opened
Dang.
the door, so she didn't like take
A
it
little
and
bit.
like get rid of it.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
only but surely that was like 14, was able to start buying a couple more, sneak a couple
Yeah.
more.
Yeah. So my first album that my friend gave me was Brandy, Never Say Never. And to this day, I should have said that one. I love
a
that
good-
album.
That's a
I
good
will.
album.
If I hear one song now, the whole album has to be played on
Yeah.
repeat for a month or
Yeah.
two. That was my first one. And then I think Sammy's like you know,
The
first
yellow
couple
disc
of
one.
yes.
Yeah.
I had that one. My friend gave me that one too. So that one was on repeat.
Come on,
And
Sammy.
I just, you know, I know all of the words now. I can do the little rap part. I know all of it. So yeah, those were my first couple ones. And I was probably like 14 or something too, but I didn't play them when my mother was home, just in case, you know.
Listen, now that's a throwback
Just in
moment
case.
right there. Come
Yes.
on, Sammy.
Oh my god.
Right. Oh,
my God.
I'm not gonna lie. Last year I had like a 3-month on repeat Sammy, that album.
Did you really?
It was just I
I'm gonna
did.
have to
I was
go
in a
listen to that
car.
again.
You should.
I
But
forgot
I
all
wish
about
shit I
Sammy.
can spend time with you each and every day.
Hey.
Playing on my love emotions. That's the thing that got me open. Listen. It was a
Okay.
moment. A moment.
And community,
Listen
that
to
will
it
be on
again.
the Spotify playlist that we update every week, by the way. So Minority Report breaks out into the song. Look that up on Spotify playlist. That
Look
will
it
be
up.
on there.
Look it up. Yes. My jams, obviously.
Oh, by the way, what day does your podcast come out? Like, so they can make sure they follow you and all the podcasts and everything, and be like, oh, new episode today, listening.
Mhm.
So our episodes air every other Thursday. So our next episode will air on the 24th, June 24th. And then
Oh,
the Thursday after, not the next Thursday, but 2 Thursdays from then. So every 2 weeks, every 2
oh,
Thursdays.
oh.
Mhm.
Whenever
Bi-weekly.
you listen to podcasts.
Bi-weekly.
That's some more succinct way of saying it. Yes.
And community, we'll be on an episode of theirs really soon too. We're excited about
Yes.
that.
Oh, I'm so excited
Oh,
to
we
dig
gonna
it down
get
with y'all.
down.
Period. Time to dig it down.
Yes, it's our first time dicking it down with like other people.
It
Yeah.
is.
Please.
It is.
Yeah.
I'm very excited. I'm very excited to have y'all
Lord.
on.
Right. And what's your social, by the way, too? Let's get that out there.
Okay, so you want me to go?
Go ahead. Go
So
ahead.
our podcast it's for IG at It's a Mess Sis Podcast, Facebook at It's a Mess Sis, Twitter at Twitter is at It's a Mess Sis as well. I'm just gonna go look it up.
Right.
But IG is the most important.
Our Twitter is messed up too. Somebody took
no.
our name already. We had
Oh,
it's the same everywhere else. So
Yeah, right. It's like MT report. You'd be like, damn.
Dang. Listen, we struggle with this at the end of every podcast. It's like, we know who we are. Why are we struggling with this?
I got it now. I got
Okay.
it. Instagram at It's a Mess Sis Podcast. Facebook at It's a Mess Sis Podcast. Twitter at It's a Mess Sis. And YouTube, you can just look us up. It's a Mess Sis. We're on Buzzsprout, Spotify, Apple, pretty much everywhere you listen to podcasts.
Perfect.
they doing a damn thing. That's what
I
she
know
just
that's
said.
right. Right, doing the
We
damn
everywhere.
We trying.
Our melanin is everywhere.
So I think it's about that time. So what time is it?
Ask
your
I can't wait.
This one's a juicy one. We've held on to this one for a long ass one.
Mhm.
So it's time to get this conversation going because we actually haven't really had it. So it
Really?
says, I haven't asked your aunties, what is white people's obsession with always wanting to touch black people's natural hair? I really need to know because as friendly of a person as I feel I am, nothing gives them a right to invade my personal space while I'm grocery shopping to put their disgusting ass hands in my hair. It's disrespectful. Signed, Jarrell A. Owens Robinson. Gave the whole full government.
Period.
The
Come
government
on, whole
name.
name. Come on, whole name. That's what I'm talking about.
So we'll
Yeah.
let the guests go first on how to respond to this one.
See, they always do it. They always ask, but they never wait for the answer. I don't like, they do it anyway. It's like they ask as they're reaching, you know, like, oh, can I touch it? You're already doing it now.
Karen.
I don't know what the obsession is. I don't. Jess, I'm gonna let you seem like you have an answer.
I'm ready because
Okay.
this is the situation. It's disrespect and admiration in one, you know, and they are enamored by us, which they should be. Our hair defies gravity. There are coils for the gods. We can change it from one day to the next, hour to hour, minute by minute. Anything they can do, we can do better. So, right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Period.
So, on the one hand, you have the understanding.
Did what needed to be done.
One hand, it's like, you know, we as Black people in this country have been made to feel that we need to appease white people in order to have our safety. So you have people who just allowed for this for a long period of time. And so people just feel comfortable saying, oh, I just wanna because my friend let me, and you know, and there's the admiration piece. But the other piece comes with not realizing that we have bodily autonomy, that I am a person and I am, and I don't want to be petted. No petting.
Yes.
I don't want to be petted. I'm not something to fetishize. I'm not something that you can just, it's not a zoo. There's not a petting zoo, you know, keep your hands to yourself. So I think on the one hand, there's admiration, but it's also just a lack of understanding about the fact that we are allowed to say no. We're allowed to not want them to put their hands on us. So it's very hard because you don't want to, and this person's saying they're a friendly person, and I want all the friendly people in the world to know that no doesn't make you unfriendly.
Right.
I can say no and still be friendly. I can still have my personal boundaries, my personal space. And that's something that I feel like is becoming like a big topic, boundaries. And I feel like that is important for us to stand on and say, like, you know, I'm friendly and you can say it friendly. I'm going to need you to not, you know, oh, maybe that wasn't friendly. I don't know. I'm just shady. Whatever way, practice with your friends if you have to, figuring out ways that you can still be your friendly self, because nobody wants to get outside of their character. And I understand that, but I think the more we say no and mean it, and I think the more maybe they'll get the understanding, you know, because they're a slow bunch. So we have to say it slowly and frequently in order to make sure that
break the pattern.
Yeah,
right.
I think so. But I don't know. That's what I think. I think
hair pattern.
Right. I think a lot of it, that's the problem too. I do think some of it, I'll say some of it. I'll say like maybe a third of it is admiration. It's just like, wow, it's beautiful. Because when I see Black women's hair, I don't necessarily want to touch, but I am in awe.
Yeah.
Especially if it's big and luxurious or a huge afro that's just like a crown.
Yeah,
I mean, it's like, damn, you look so great.
Yeah.
And I just don't think they know how to go and just say that and let that be. Let that be it. You know, I think there's just, we haven't really set boundaries and stuck with them as a whole, I feel like.
I also wonder, just on a side note, real quick, I just wonder if this is like, if like touching each other's hair is a white thing. I'm not talking about touching Black people's hair. I mean, like, do they go and just touch other people's hair? Like, oh girl, your hair is so cute. I wonder if they do that.
Not to anybody that's, oh, sorry. I'm so sorry. Go ahead.
No, I'm legit just like, I don't know the answer to this, because I'm like, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, do they do that to themselves? Because if they do that, I could slightly understand not taking away for anything from what you said, because I
Mm.
100% ascribe to that. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm wondering if it's such an odd thing for them, because if they do it with each other, and then
Mhm.
they
That's a
do it to us,
cultural
but we
thing?
take it. But then we, well, I mean, they got to have something, because all they got is raisins. So they got to have something. But sorry, white people. But
We still love y'all.
we do. But you know, I was just wondering if they do, like, white people, can you let us know? Send a
let
note
us
to ask your aunties at minorityReport.com and let us know if you touch each other's hair.
Just differences.
wanna know.
There's a white girl
Right.
that I know who her hair is very curly. She's white, like her ancestral, you know, she did the ancestry.com. She's like super white. So it's nothing like mixed about her, but
Mhm.
white people touch her hair because it's like, oh, that's different than mine. And like, you know, I don't understand the obsession with the touching. You know, I
That's
don't
what
know.
I'm having a hard time understanding too.
Yeah.
Is like, what do you get from touching it? Like, looking at it should be enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
Rena,
Well,
you
I
had
think
a
there's,
thought.
oh, go ahead. Yeah, Reena.
No, I mean, I think I'm just kind of having thoughts as you guys are talking. I think they just have like an obsession and a curiosity with different. And I guess the touching, part of me just feels like no one slapped them and said no.
Mhm.
Like, no one's like,
I-
right. They've never been popped.
You're
That's
right.
hilarious.
You're
That's
right.
hilarious.
You
I do
might
think
have
it's
something there.
that's true. I do think it's also a desire to see what it feels like, because it is so different from theirs, and our hair does feel different than theirs. There's a coiliness to it, and I've often heard people tell other people, "Oh, it's so soft." Well, what did you think it was
What
going to
the
be?
fuck
It's
is
hair, right? What did you think of the Brillo pad? Like,
Yeah,
Jesus,
that's what they call
relax.
But
So
some
I
people
think
say that too,
but
it
that.
could be like that
But
sometimes.
some people
it
say
can,
that.
yeah.
I got called
And he-
carpet boy.
I mean, if you got that S16C,
It feels like carpet. Yeah, I had a girl tell me that before.
And that's when you punch her in the face.
That's when you get
Yeah.
popped. You get
Lord,
popped.
Lord. They just feel
Like,
so comfortable. Right. Let me just
Tiffany know
put my-
better. Tiffany
let me
has
just-
learned her lesson.
Good, because
Ooh,
Tiffany
put the government
would
out
have had
there.
some words that day.
and now she with a black man.
Uh,
Oh, dang.
is she gonna know how to do the mixed hair though?
There's
Let me
YouTube
help you
videos.
put your
Now you know.
do-rag on.
Not catered to you, Lord.
Oh,
Oh,
no.
we'll talk about that.
Oh, no.
Oh Lord, that's hilarious.
But it's interesting though, like, because like, especially like the last few years I've worn my hair longer, and like, I mean, I've had the gamut. Like in college, it was just like so weird because like I had cornrows in college,
Mhm.
and everybody was like obsessed with the Afro version because like they'll see it in the cornrows, but when I would take it out, sometimes just to let your hair breathe because that shit hurts sometimes. And they would always be like, "Oh, crowd, will you wear your fro out? Will you fro?" Like it was like to a point where, I was just like, "No, I don't feel like it." And I did it literally like the last week of my senior year, where I like just rocked it out the whole time, just to have people finally just shut up about it.
Mhm.
But again, that just made people want to touch it, and like it was long. Like I had long hair back then too.
Wow.
And it was like this question is just like I just couldn't quite understand just like why they were so obsessed with it. But I've never heard anyone say the point of just like the admiration part. And so that's got me thinking here, like I've never thought it that way just because it felt so intrusive for so long about it. But it's just like, okay, I guess maybe it is a slight compliment, but it doesn't again give you the permission to put your hands on me.
Right.
You know,
there's a
and
lot of
that's the
things I
part.
admire, and culturally we know, like, okay, if I admire your car, if you have like a really nice car, I don't just go open your car door and sit in the car like, oh my God, this is so nice, let me just snuggle up in here. If I admire your
Some
home,
people do that.
So I've seen that happen with a motorcycle.
yikes.
Like, yeah, they're like, "Oh, this
Yikes.
motorcycle's nice." Next thing I knew, they were on top of it taking pictures. Some people just don't have boundaries.
See, that's
and that's the
that
thing.
you never had the
Home
mama tell you
training. They
don't
don't
touch
have home
nothing, don't
training.
look at nothing, don't sit down, don't
Home
do nothing.
training.
Like,
Home
because
training.
I would go to the store not even daring to look at something and touch
Period.
something.
Look down. Look at the cart. Put your hand on this cart and hold this cart as I walk
Look,
around.
I got whooped in the grocery store. Okay.
Hello?
Look,
Hello? You have to do that to me but one time.
Right.
And now I don't
Look.
keep my hands to myself.
That
Okay,
part.
I'm good. Look, I'll behave. Behave. You know, one thing about this that irritates me is that the fact that when white people are doing this, they're also forgetting that we go through a struggle of our Black hair being acceptable
Yeah.
in certain spaces,
Mhm.
you know, and that there are laws out there that can allow certain people to be fired and like go,
Yes.
or even not even picked for a job or position they may be bomb at, but because their hair don't fit the mold.
Mhm.
Or even in school, like people
Or
have
even in
cut their
school.
hair
Yeah.
like you hear
Right.
every
Like-
year, like
The
cut
kid at
locks and
graduation.
things like
Yeah,
that.
the
You're
kid at
just like,
graduation.
Yeah.
Mhm.
it's
But
wild.
I'm like, how you gonna tell him at graduation? He went all these years doing the work, and now that he's done, I'm like, y'all trying to make everything difficult.
Hmm.
And for
For
what?
no reason.
For
Because
no
he said
reason
no.
at all.
Right.
That
You know?
you're right. You're right.
Because you want to assert your authority. So I think that's the part about it too. It's like that's why they don't even wait for the response, because they just feel
Yeah.
entitled to do it because
Mhm.
that's how they've gotten things. They just say,
Yeah.
"Oh, that is so pretty. That's different. I'ma just
Mhm.
Take.
just
And they
touch
should
it."
know that we're very anal about our hair and like, you know, and make sure it's staying in place where it wants to. So stop fucking up my hair.
But see, that's what you said they should know. And that's another thing. They don't know because we haven't, historically talked about a lot of
Right, on
our
that.
things nationally. That's not, we know about their hair because we have commercials, we have movies about that. There's a bunch of stuff that we see that we kind of just know. It's only recently now that we've started to have like good hair or bad hair, whatever or is it good hair?
It's good.
We have other stuff that they can kind of get an insight and know like, oh, I know that took so long for you to do your hair like that. Now that they're asking stupid questions like, oh my God, how'd your hair grow overnight?
It's like, bitch,
Y'all been wearing weaves and wigs your whole history. Why are you surprised that we're doing it? Like, but it's not something that they know. And I think that's the other thing too, is education for those that if you're close to someone, enough to say it. But that's, they don't know. They don't know about us.
Well,
They haven't had to.
There's a lot of Google, a lot of Netflix, a lot of Hulus. Y'all better learn.
Right.
There's
no excuse
to a
at this
store.
point.
Just
Listen,
go
if
to
you
a
see-
hair store.
if you
and
look-
around,
Mhm.
shit, touch
If you
there.
see
The supply.
any video,
Right,
if you see any of these videos on Twitter, you see any of these videos, they gonna learn or they gonna find out real quick.
Real quick.
Because
People are tired.
There's no more. It's above me now. That was it.
Refresh
That was
out.
the
You
last
had that
one.
one.
That was
You
the
had that
last
one.
That was the last one. And now it's like people getting popped out with Four Locos in the
Literally.
The iced tea.
The iced tea.
Oh.
That I really usually can't watch. Like I can't watch a lot of like violent videos. But that one I watched a couple times.
Man, I sure did.
I watched
The way
that
he
one.
clocked
Cause-
out.
That was for the
not triggering
ancestors.
at
That was
all.
for the
That was for the
ancestors.
ancestors. That's what that
satisfying.
was.
Very satisfying. I had to, and like I said, I can't watch most of them, but that one did all right.
Mhm.
Blood. It was cold. The iced tea was literally like,
Look, I can watch that all day.
Yeah.
Community, continue to send your questions to aya@minorityareport.com or DM us. We like these questions, great conversations.
Mm-hmm.
And this kind of almost leads into like the next one too. It's just like right now we see In the Heights is out in movie theaters and HBO Max and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just interesting within even the Latino and like the Latinx communities, the conversation around colorism and still visibility and being seen within your own community. And like, it's just interesting, like Manuel Miranda like makes this movie and he says, I made the movie to be seen because I wanted to be seen. But then now even within his own community, they're like, okay, you see your light-skinned self, but there's some Afro Latinos and things like that in the community, especially in that part of New York, like that is not represented in this movie. Let's have this dialogue, which is good because even they're saying like the Black community, that's something that has been around forever as well. Unfortunately, since slavery, because a lot of times the more light skinned and the people that ended up getting biracial and things like that because the slave owners were raping everybody. We're getting special treatment, preferential treatment, and things like that. So it's just a dialogue that again needs to be had. That, quite frankly, I'm glad it's being had. But I was just curious what you all's thoughts were on it, like especially as like he's within the community, and I guess sometimes even in your community, you still have this unconscious bias potentially. So how do we make sure, even in our communities of like Black and brown communities, that we are getting the full color spectrum of our communities?
I mean, it's about who you're also surrounding yourself with. Like, I have to think about who is around him on his day to day that didn't also check him in this moment. Like, or just he, like, or, you know, was around him to be like, oh, why doesn't my friend have representation in it? Like, I just can't help but to question, like, who are the people you are surrounding yourself with? Because I have a feeling that that has more to do with his choice and casting than anything else. I don't think it was necessarily just all about being in part of the community and that representation, because if it was truly that, then you would have been paying attention to the community around you.
I think it's telling that you chose this particular section of New York that is filled with Black and brown Latinas, and then you chose to not have any of them like up front. And the other, I think like the director or somebody was like, well, they're dancing, so you can kind of see yourself represented there. But it's like historically, Black people
Dance
have always
again,
danced.
dance again,
Right.
Black people, dance
Right.
again.
Exactly. Historically, we've
Mom's
always
Mabley.
danced. We've
She got
always
an
been
Oscar.
right. We've always been that kind of, okay, we're going to shuck and jive for you in the background, but we're not good enough to be up front. And there's so many talented Black and brown Latinas. You can't say that you didn't have your pick, you know? And so I think the thing of it is like, it is unconscious bias. It's being able to do it and nobody saying anything because those are the people around you, like you were saying. And it just feels, it's okay to do because it looks like you and it's fine. And I think that's with anything in our own selves. We have to be continuously making sure that we are checking our own privileges, because Black, whatever you are, we all have our own privileges. Yes, he's a part of a minority community, but you are privileged to be of fairer skin, and you have to acknowledge that and be understanding when someone wants to bring that to you, you know? So from what I've been seeing, it's, you know, at first it was kind of this, well, we can't represent everyone, or kind of like this, and I get it. There's always a tendency to be defensive when someone's coming for you, especially as an artist or something like that.
Says about my shit.
Right. And I understand that, but it's to be open and to say, okay, I recognize where this is coming from, because even if you look back along like history in the industry, Latinas that look like that have been getting roles. Your J-Lo's, your Sophia Vergara, I don't know her name. You know, Vergara's. You have historically a lot of Hispanic people. What's her name?
Gina Rodriguez.
Yeah, not her.
Eva
Longoria.
There's so many.
Rosario Dawson.
Listen, you're just saying all the names. Listen, there's literally so many. There's literally so many that you guys didn't even say the one I was thinking, which was Selma Hayek. I mean, you know, you have so many fairer skinned Latinas that have been historically given roles and jobs, and they have these things. So this was an opportunity to use that culture of where you actually set this, where it was set. Right. Now, that was the thing too. You set it in a place where it's very predominantly Black and brown, and then didn't make it reflect. So I don't know. I think it's unfortunate because he's allowed to do that. And then,
do you think part of it too, though, is he knew he had to sell it a certain way, because at the end of the day, it's still a white person that is funding this movie?
Absolutely. My friend out here is a gay guy out here, and he's an actor as well. And he has an agent, and his agent said, well, do you have a boyfriend? And he said, no. And he said, well, do you have anybody that could pretend? Because, you know, you can do like fake, you know, couple auditions. And he's like, yeah. He said, well, if he's white, that would be better because interracial is in. Like that was just
commercials right now. They're showing a lot of gay couples and a lot of different things, and they are all interracial.
And this is why
all of them are interracial,
because you want to book your role. Of course you do. Of course you do. So if I can find a white guy to go with me, then I'm going to go. So yes, I do definitely think it's about the funding, because the purse strings, no matter who you say is the creator, the purse strings are most oftentimes still very white. Which is why we have to break into all parts of the industry and not just in the beginning, in the forefront, or like, you know, on camera or whatever. So yeah, I definitely think that's a thing too. Along with unconscious bias.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned unconscious bias, because I think there's quite a bit of that's going on. And like, for people who don't really know like what that is, it's really the notion of having blinders on. Like, you don't know what you don't know. So in hindsight, he may be looking back and saying, wow, like, okay, well, Lin-Manuel is not doing all of the casting, right? He's the one that's responsible for the production, so he's not the one that's like, saying yes and no to all of the folks that are coming through the doors, but in hindsight, when you look back, you're like, oh shit, yeah, I should have seen that this was our situation, and I could have made different situations, but that's in hindsight. So unconscious bias is making decisions that are based off of your privilege of not knowing, and therefore not really caring about anything outside of what your vision is, right? And so whether this was I feel challenged because it's every minority goes through these kind of growing pains. You look at the Cosby Show, right? And you had so many people saying, well, that doesn't represent Black families. Meanwhile, he's just trying to sell a show. He's not trying to be the poster child for all of Black America.
Right.
That wasn't his ministry. And know, I mean, if his ministry was drugging women, but
I'm weak. Oh no. Oh no.
We had to we had to slide that one in.
No pun intended.
No, that pun was intended, honey. Remember, I'm Auntie Chardonnay.
Period. You got it in. Oh my word.
But like, to bring it back, like, pioneers, and particularly for people of color, even fair-skinned individuals.
He said skinned it, just to let you know. He said skinned it. He said what he said.
In the use of the words that I'm using right now with my mouth that is moving right now.
Period. Fair-skinned.
But people have always bear the brunt of this notion that when you create something, it has to represent all of us.
Yeah.
And that's really, really tough. It's really tough. It's really tough on the artist. And a lot of it really isn't intentional. It's that unconscious bias. Like, they just didn't know. It's not that they don't know that colorism exists, and it's not that they don't know that dark-skinned individuals need representation too, but there is a blinder on that says, this is the vision that I want to create, and I'm going to zero in on this and do the best I can with this. And in doing that, then you forget about all the other things. And that's why diversity really, really matters, by having other people around you who can raise that shit up. It's just like, what happened with Gucci. Do you think Gucci intended to be like, to put something out there that was like, super fucking offensive and racist and, to make like monkeys? You may.
I was like, yeah, kind of. Because it gets them talked about.
But the reality of it is that the reason that we've called them to the carpet for is because they don't have people in there to say, you can't do that shit.
Yeah.
So like, not having a diverse people around that can provide insight to say, okay, well, you may have blinders on, but the reason I'm here is because I don't.
I mean, it's 2021. Ain't no reason for blinders. Ain't no excuse for blinders at this point.
There's a lot of reason for, to be realistic.
Unless you live in the middle of buttfuck nowhere now.
But the internet is there too.
There's always one. Right,
it's not exactly. It's less about not knowing. It's more about having that as your lens. And those are two totally different. I do this work all day, right? I do this work all day. And I get paid to do this work. Yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. Not because I'm Black.
But still, people don't do their homework though. That's what happens. If you don't do your homework, that's on you. I just don't feel like there's a reason. There's no way a person can justify for not doing the homework in this day and age, especially when the homework is so easy to do.
What do you think,
Go ahead, Reena?
No, I agree with both of you. I think, we're human, and it's really hard for you to see outside of yourself. But I think you also have a responsibility to know that you have that human flaw, and to include more diversity so that people can fill in those blind spots that you have.
It's the Kanye West syndrome. Kanye West ain't got nobody around him to like help him out.
Since his
It's the
mama
people that are-
died.
Yeah.
Exactly.
He was
It's
the
a
only
Kanye
one to
West-
get checked
Did
in.
y'all see that picture of him looking like Sub-Zero, looking like a whole ass
Did you see
cartoon
that ugly
character in the
ass?
blue?
Did you
Like,
see
he
that
looked
ugly
a
ass Gap
mess.
jacket that they're trying to sell for $200?
It sold out.
It showed
Yeah.
in.
It did.
sold out.
It did sold out.
I was like,
Yeah.
Like, where they
But
do
I
that?
saw none of this.
It really
They
is.
sold
It's
out
a
that quick.
Kanye.
You
It's a
ain't missing.
Kanye West. It's the Kanye West syndrome. You know, like
Okay.
you are a person of a certain stature, and you have a bunch of people around you that say yes to whatever you do. That is not creating a, and the faces and the colors and the sexual orientations can be as diverse as the day is wide. But if the people that you're surrounding yourself with are people that just go along with what you do, then that is an
Right.
affinity bias. That means that whatever you like, I like too.
Right. Because
Good.
you're
Like,
paying my
it's
bills.
It's the chick from Coming to America that's doing the ooh ooh ooh.
Whatever
you know,
you like.
whatever it is that you like.
Right.
Right.
Now her still barking in it.
Right?
Now her still barking in the sequel.
That
Right.
part.
I have not seen
Yes.
that. You saw the sequel?
Spoiler alert.
Girl, you
Yeah,
you
sorry.
you 8 months behind.
I
So-
am.
so
I
How you gonna
many
say you saw the sequel?
We all did.
I was like, what?
Not a
Rena,
sneak peek.
Rena.
How you see it? So how you see it?
I started watching it when I was getting my hair done, but then she was done so fast. I was like, oh, I'm gonna catch up, and I didn't.
Dang.
Well, I want to go to whoever
Dang.
did your hair quick. Then that's what you need to put their name
Oh,
on.
really?
They are cutting down time. They
They
are,
get
I
y'all
mean,
in and out.
I can get small individuals in 5 hours now,
Shut
Wow.
up.
Wow.
That's impressive.
right?
Who your girl is? Shout her Instagram.
Right.
Right.
Give her some shine.
Oh,
I do want to say one thing though, as far as the artist thing, because that was something that kind of popped in my head really quick, if that's okay.
Yeah.
I understand as an artist, I am an artist, so I understand that what I create is mainly for me. And I hope that y'all like it. But if I say I am creating this inspired by Jamaica, let's say,
exactly.
right? And I put white people from Ireland there,
It's like house.
that would be strange. That would be
Yeah,
strange.
questions.
So
Oh,
while
Chet
I,
Hanks, white
right,
chocolate.
right, white boy summer, ain't that what he said?
Come down.
I'm weak.
That baby was the milk.
Oh, what the blood got? Right.
Wait. But if that's all that I did,
I
Right.
can't.
there would be that and that's not to say that's what he did, because he did put Hispanic people or Latin people there, but that's what I'm getting at. Like, you based it off an area that was predominantly dark skin, so it does feel like what was I gonna say? Gosh, what is the word I'm looking for? Intentional oversight.
Yes.
Because if I say I'm going to do this thing about this thing, about this area or about this way of life, and I don't include people that are predominantly in that way of life, that feels a little off.
Because here's the thing, because quite frankly, if it wasn't about that specific area, if that's his world, that's his world.
Right.
Who am I to be mad? Yes, I wish it was a little more diverse, but hey, I got other shit to do today.
Right.
But now
Right.
that you're making a movie literally specific about that area, it's
Mhm.
not representative of that area.
Right. I think that's why it feels a little, and I get what you're saying though, because that does make sense. We all are just kind of in our own space, in our own world, in our own understanding of things. So I don't know. That's interesting. So you like teach people about like diversity and things like that? That's
Diversity,
really
inclusion,
cool.
Belonging. That's what I build training programs around that as an initiative. And let's be clear, I'm not saying that it's okay. I'm
Yeah.
not saying that this is excusable behavior, but
Mhm.
I can understand in today's world how there are people who just
There's still
Don't
blind
know.
spots.
they have blinders on.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
have blinders on. You know, I was having a conversation with I was listening into a conversation that was being hosted by our Latinx employee resource group or affinity group, and it was specifically on the topic of code switching.
Mhm.
And usually that's a conversation that we as Black folks have all the time. So I was
Mhm.
like, I need to learn about this.
Yeah.
Teach me something about, what code switching looks like in the Latinx world or whatever.
Mhm. Mhm.
But I think that the interesting thing about these kinds of things is that people people have a hard time understanding how other people can be blind about things when we blind about a whole bunch of things. We blind about a whole, like each one of us have a whole bunch of blinders that are on that we have no idea until we become educated.
Yeah.
You're right. I woke up and chose violence today, so you're right. I got some blinders. You're right.
She saw.
You're right.
I know. Jarrell saw the episode topic list and she goes,
I'm ready. I'm ready. It's the cuffs on deck. I'm ready. That's funny. That's true. And I think we're all in kind of like insulated circles of people that very much so think like us. And so, you know, I don't have a lot of people that I'm hanging out with that are like Blue Lives Matter. So like, you know, I have a few.
That's good for you. You don't. That's good for you. Yes.
Yeah. But you know, I do understand, like you said, that most people are around what they're around. So you don't have to.
The interesting thing, and this is I don't know if we're ready to have this conversation yet, meaning we the people, not this in this room.
Okay.
But
I'm ready.
But it's interesting because when it comes to Black people, and when I'm talking about Black people, I'm talking about Black people that have been born and raised in this country and are part of the Black community, right? Not African immigrants who are, you know, also identify as Black. You know, but I'm talking about, you know, people that have been born in this country of, you know, descendants of slaves from this country, because that's a very different kind of Black, very, very different than elsewhere in the world. When I think about the movies that are made and like, you know, from you know, that are representative of people of other cultures, like like a movie that comes from China that wins the Oscar, and you know this Manuel, you know this whole like In the Heights jump, and it's like there are whole other continents that have a whole other industry of movies that represent y'all. We don't. You know, so our struggle, in my opinion, like, again, I don't know if we're ready to have that conversation. We don't have to have it now because we know we got a couple other things, but like, when are we going to talk about that? Because when you celebrating like, oh, you have a you know, like this movie from, you know, Czechoslovakia that won, you know, the Oscar, for example, it's a hypothetical or whatever, you know, but then you have a movie, you know, that's made by a Black director, a Black writer, a Black, you know, depicting the Black experience, and that's got fucking Angela Bassett and you know, who else is like has everybody
Viola
in it or whatever.
Denzel
Viola did, and they just
Morgan.
throwing it down, and you know they get nominated, but they don't win nothing. It's just like it does feel like a little bit of slap in the face, and then you're like, oh, well, we're celebrating diversity because we have this other like people of color thing, and it's not to downshade or downplay other people's work, but like at the end of the day, the people in this country who are the most oppressed look like us.
That is I would be interested to hear how that conversation does go, because that's absolutely right. And I have felt like that for a long time, because I'm like, you know, it's so disrespectful. It's so disrespectful. We have literally built your country and continue to do so. The Black American experience is worldwide, baby.
Honey,
I just had this conversation.
When you can get at the federal level a bill passed for anti-Asian hate, but you cannot get a bill
and then they're
passed
trying to just give us Juneteenth.
No. You can't even you can't even get a bill passed to outlaw and criminalize lynching.
No, I know. So
that's
why they said we're just gonna give you
that's
Juneteenth.
A damn problem.
It's performative, is what it is. It's performative.
The
Juneteenth. That don't. I mean, okay.
I mean, I'll take a day off.
I mean, right, but everybody getting a day off. Everybody getting a day off. Everybody, the white coworkers, everybody getting a day off. Which fine, whatever. But this is about, you're right, lynching. You can't tell me we can't talk about lynching. Y'all can't come together in mass and say that this is wrong.
And but so we can say we have to admit that it happens.
Thank you, Reena. And wash your hands, wash your legs, wash your ass. We'll see you next week. Seriously. Seriously.
And that's that on that.
That's on period. Right. That's that on that. Like they have yet to admit it. So we can't be too surprised that this shit ain't passing.
Yeah.
I am really curious to see what happens in California because they're starting to seriously look at and putting plans together around reparations.
I have seen that.
I'm really
I'll let y'all know how it goes.
Okay, look.
right.
Y'all can come visit my mansion.
Right. she over there. Like, Jada
Girl,
over
you
there.
know they ain't gonna
out.
give us no
She's
damn
like,
answers.
she's like, who needs AC? Who needs AC when you got these CDs?
Right. Because baby.
Huh.
Yeah, I'll let y'all know how it goes. Because I'm ready.
I'm
Because
really
it's-
curious to see how that, because California, and then shortly after New York is the litmus test for progressive legislation in this country. And so, you know, a lot of the things that are happening in California, the rest of the country really looks towards to see like how we need to adjust. A lot of HR policies and things about how we treat people and happens in California
They need to bring that
first.
shit to Atlanta real quick because there's a whole.
They also
lot of
have the
black
highest
people out here.
taxes, so they pay for that shit too. But
we do.
but it's worth it. But
It
it's worth
is. It is. And it's so ridiculous that we have the argument against it because it's like every other group that has been wronged. You have the Japanese who got some sort of payment. You have, and I'm not saying that they did it right, but the Japanese who were put in internment, they got some sort of payment. You have the Native Americans who have land, they're allowed the casinos and all the other things. Again,
well, the slave owners, when they emancipated the slaves, they gave reparations to the slave owners.
Right, for losing their property. And so to say that you can't figure out a way for us to at least find some equal footing, because there's no way you can say
would it take?
Right.
Per person. No, seriously.
You're asking.
Yeah, I mean, how much would it take for real?
I want something that's gonna develop generational wealth. Because here I am, damn near 40. Like, don't give me no $5,000. Like
that ain't it. I feel like it needs to be. I think it needs to be money and things.
Like everything should be tax free.
Okay,
everything should be tax free.
That I can get with.
I like that.
And that's my Social Security I paid into.
I think we should have free college. Like if you're Indian, if you're Native American, I feel like you should get free college like that. You can tap in and say, I've been born here. I've 5 generations here. Free education for any institution that you qualify to get into. I feel like therapy needs to be fucking free for every Black person. Really, the whole country. And medical. I feel like it's not just a dollar amount. It's getting us back to a healthy space because what y'all did was tragic. It's fucking dramatic. And it still affects us now. That's in our DNA. We are still trying to combat it. And it's not like we're done. We're not even at a place now where we can just feel safe. So you're still doing shit. So there's still trauma that's re-triggering from the shit that y'all did before. So it needs to be therapy. Oh, go ahead. Yeah.
No, I'm just listening to you. I'm like, that sounds like veteran status.
Yeah.
Period.
Yeah.
So let me get my zero down home loan.
House. Yes.
Let me be tax exempt. Yes. Pay for my insurance. Pay for my school. And then
you nailed it.
I love that.
I like it. That's exactly what I'm saying. You need
I don't want
a dollar amount is not going to do it.
That's a slap in the face to me.
Yeah, and I feel like you're putting a price on me.
If that dollar amount is in that dollar amount is in like the 7 figures.
That would never happen.
We'll be 5 million.
I'm just saying.
They would leave. All right, we're gonna pay y'all out.
Look,
and they go to Mars.
And if I can get it in one check.
But you know how they operate. If they did that, then the prices on everything else is gonna go up. That's how they will still fuck us over in the end.
But I would take that money. Look, I will take that money and I will move to like the Dominican Republic.
Come on. But for me, it's just like I'm just thinking like, what is going to make it for the next generation? Because like we're gonna spend that shit. You know, we're gonna look extra fly. Like, come on, let's be all the way real. So it's just like, how are we gonna set the next generation up? Because once we spend this shit, we still in the same place. Because
I love Reena's idea to treat us like veterans.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Treat us like veterans.
I mean, we served. We served.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we have trauma as a result of it, and we are having issues reacclimating to the society they built around our enslavement. No.
Like, I don't want to be homeless.
Not in that way. No. We want the good part. The VA loan. We want a VA loan.
I want that VA loan.
Right.
I want that VA
no
loan.
money down. We want to be able to get a house, college education,
The
insurance.
therapy. I love
for-
the idea about like healthcare and therapy. I love that idea as well.
Because literally
it's
our
really important
culture
too.
around soul food came because they gave us the scraps.
Exactly.
Literally.
And then these scraps now have literally become a generational cultural moment. Cool, it tastes delicious, but all of it might not be good for us.
Most
And
of
so
it.
I want some medical shit because y'all set our communities up to be sick.
So it's a diabetes, high blood pressure, all of that.
And they knew
That's all
it. They
it is.
knew it.
Yeah.
So no, like I agree. I like this vet stuff. We need to treat our vets better, but by the way. So
We definitely do.
like,
We
that's
definitely
another
do.
conversation.
Literally.
But it's just like
Yeah.
but
So who about to put
That's
that
a white
into
people problem. We ain't gotta solve that.
You
Look,
right.
We try not to die just going to the mailbox. So
Hello?
y'all can worry about the
vets.
people that are
But the black
Look,
vets, because we got it
well,
double.
I mean,
Well,
you
once
know,
we get our vet status,
they
they'll
did
get
get
like
it double,
double vet
huh?
Yeah.
status.
Right.
And
Ooh, that'd
then
be nice for them.
I do have a quick question. Why do y'all think that the people that are black haven't put together like a conglomerate of like, because like I fantasize often
Because
about like
they
just
bomb
getting
shit,
super
they
wealthy.
steal shit, they
Here.
shoot us up shit, they burn the houses down, they
Tulsa.
shoot the leaders, they
Yeah.
murder the leaders, they assassinate the leaders. What else would you? Any other?
Yeah. Nope, you said it all.
Like,
You
Yeah,
said it all.
fear.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
There's
literally
no
the second the
incentive,
ball
really.
gets rolling, they find a way to shut that shit down. It's crazy.
Yeah.
It's so crazy to me.
But I do feel like we, and I've been saying this for a while. I do feel like we're on the verge of like a civil uprising, and with I don't care who they want to try to be. You can have the whole fucking government try to come in and try to shut some shit down, but at the end of the day, we ain't the blacks from last year. We ain't the blacks from last century. We fight. We
Okay.
fight. We burn. Look, we so mad. We burn our own shit. What do you think we gonna do to you when you try to
And
come
we
for
educated
us?
too. That's the thing. Like
Right.
we way more educated than a lot of the past
Mhm.
generations.
Don't
So
try
you
it.
ain't
You
gonna
can
try
try
to
it.
outsmart us this go round.
Come on. You don't
Right.
want none of this smoke.
Right.
And I think they know it.
Yeah. Yeah.
They look. They can treat them. Like yuppie / like want to do goods, with the man buns and the beards, however they want to,
I mean, some of them
oh,
are
I'm a
cute,
tear
though, I'm not gonna
glass. I mean, they're cute, but I'm just saying, like when it comes down to like,
Oh wait.
when it comes down to it, they can
Huh.
try to come for us, but it
Right.
ain't gonna happen.
It's not
I
gonna work.
loved in last year seeing those images of like those black men that were walking in unison and all black with like their machine
Their
guns and shit like
guns.
that, and just
Gave me
showing off like
chills.
this is what we got. It's just a sampling.
Mm-hmm.
It's just a sampling.
Mm-hmm. Because I'm ready, like, to be honest, I'm just ready to hear the word.
Ooh,
Like, and I think
Facts.
that's
Mhm.
so many of us. I'm ready
Yeah.
to hear the word, and I will take up arms in defense. Like, that's
Absolutely.
just real. I am ready to hear the word because I'm tired.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm tired, and I'm not even a black male out here dealing with it. So I can't even imagine. Not to say that I'm not dealing with it, because I am. I have my own experiences that I'm tired for too. But I'm ready.
Mhm.
I'm just ready for the words. Say the word, baby.
Whew.
I'm there.
Well,
With you.
I'm there.
I'm
The
not a
word
China,
is- the
so I'm not
word-
going to be sitting up there picketing. But when it comes to like fight, look,
I'll help
I'm
coordinate,
ready
I'll
for
help
that.
spearhead. I ain't about to fight nobody. You ain't gonna hit this face.
Look,
But,
I'm not fighting. I'm busting people's heads.
Hello?
that part.
To the
Yeah,
right
well,
me.
okay.
I
I don't
don't got to
fight
worry
fair.
about these because
Right, I don't fight
these
fair.
are perfectly manicured. But you know
Right.
what
Right.
they do? They pick shit up.
That
Period.
part.
Yeah.
That part. I
Yeah.
ain't fighting. That's
I
one
gotta
thing
be
my
this
dad did
close.
teach me. bro.
Right.
Nothing
doing
about
none of this.
nothing about
We-
this fight will be fair.
we
Let me just
doing
tell you that
it.
right
Not
now.
shit.
I mean,
It's
none of the fights
survival.
have been fair.
It's survival.
Nothing.
It's
You're
survival.
absolutely right. It's just
Yeah.
time for us to because I think the truth is we're such a loving people.
Absolutely.
Mhm.
We give chance after chance after chance after
You make
chance. And
jokes and
we make jokes
you
and
know,
we invite folks to the cookout because
when they
they're
don't even
kind.
deserve to
They're
come.
not doing anything extra, but just being nice.
Yeah.
Right.
And don't
Now
even
they
get me
gotta-
started on
it-
our laughter too, and just how contagious that alone
Exactly.
is too.
Exactly. And I think
yeah,
that's what
we're amazing.
saved this
We are
country in a
amazing.
lot of places for so long, because we want to stay in that space. We want to be loving. We want to be kind and jovial. I love being around Black people. We just have this, you
We're
know,
it.
we're the
boo.
energy. We're
Yeah.
we're the
Black, queer,
lifeblood.
and dope. We
Yeah.
just dope.
Period. And
Ow.
so, you know, but don't get it twisted. We it's time to stop like rolling over and laughing. Like we
No,
laugh
we
when it's
can't
done.
all get along. We can't. Some of us gonna be mad, so you just
It ain't
have
gonna be
to
no
deal with that.
kumbaya. Right.
What you
No.
think,
Not
Reena?
today.
No, I'm just thinking, I'm like, we are such loving energy. I think we just want to be left alone.
Mhm.
And that's
it.
why they keep coming and wanting to touch our hair, keep bothering us. In Tulsa, because I've been on these Tulsa documentaries, y'all.
Yeah.
And in Tulsa, they pretty much said, okay, look, y'all stay over there in y'all neighborhood. We're like, cool. We stayed in our neighborhood. They saw us with cars, furs, movie theaters, businesses. And they said, why
Bothered.
y'all stuff better than
Bothered.
mine? Real bothered. And so then white woman tears always.
Yeah.
They, you
Always
know,
starts
then they're like, oh, this Black guy, he did whatever to her. She crying, you know, and she's going along with it because she's like, hey, I don't want no smoke with y'all either. And, you know, take y'all little reason to just pretty much obliterate this town. Like we were teaching our own. We had our own businesses. There was this emphasis
Own
on
police
ownership. It
force.
was own police force. It was the American dream. We weren't bothering anybody.
Mhm.
So I'm just kind of like, I feel like we need to do that again. And then we need to, but you know what? In Tulsa, that's another thing. We need control of our narrative, because in Tulsa, they fought back.
Right.
Mhm.
And we didn't find that out until recently.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's not that we haven't been fighting. We don't fight, we
No.
protect.
Mhm.
And
That part.
that's a very
You're
important
right on that.
distinction.
Mhm.
We're
Yeah.
on they make us look like the aggressor, and we're always defending ourselves. So it's like, what needs to be done? So they just leave us alone. I think that's just it. We just want to be left alone.
Don't start no shit, won't be no shit.
Leave us alone.
But they can't. They can't leave us alone because their worth is based on us being below them.
Yeah.
Whole word.
That's
A whole
Right
word.
there.
word.
A whole word.
Mm.
Wow.
So
Where my tambourine at? Where my And on that note, Reena and Jess, we could go all day. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Because this was a whole
Yes.
mood. Tell them again where they can find you. Because
okay.
just as
You got
lit
it
as
up?
they are in our podcast today, that's every episode on there. So look them up where they
Liddy.
can find you.
Yes, Instagram at It's a Mess Sis Podcast, Facebook at It's a Mess Sis Podcast, Twitter at It's a Mess Sis, and YouTube, you can just type in our name, It's a Mess Sis. Look us up. We're on Spotify, Apple, Google Podcasts, just anywhere that you listen to podcasts, YouTube, that's where we are. You'll see us. You'll hear us.
This has been so great. I'm really glad to have joined you guys. I have loved all the
Absolutely.
topics, and we thank you, the listeners, for allowing us to join. And this has been dope.
This has been
That's
amazing.
been good. Right.
Yeah.
All go out there, follow, like, share,
Yes.
share,
Yes.
share,
Please.
and leave them some reviews, 5 stars only.
Yes.
Support a
That
Black
part.
business, Black beautiful melanin. Do your part.
And wash your hands,
Yes.
wash your legs, and wash your ass. We'll see you next week.
Bye, y'all.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.